Welcome back, Panhandle Pulse. Got a great guest in Buzz Conroy. He is the founder of North Bay Cigars. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So for our listeners on the show today, how did you get into the cigar business, and tell us backstory of how you got here to the Panhandle, Florida?
Okay. Well, first I'll tell you how I got into cigars. I think it was 1995. I was with a buddy on the way to a Beach Boy concert. Grabbed a cigar on the way. This is back when you can get cigars when you were 16. So grabbed a cigar, and we had it after the show, just outside the vehicle. And I was like, man, this really tastes good. And I've basically been having them ever since. So it's been, 31 years-ish now. As far as business goes, when I left the fire department, I knew I wanted to do something with cigars, and tried a couple different things, subscription mail, packages, things like that over the years. And then I had a buddy that actually asked me to roll at his birthday party, roll cigars. And I thought it was a lot of fun. And I thought, man, I wonder if anybody's doing this as like a business. I knew I liked cigars. I just didn't really know much about the business itself. And then I saw that there's kind of a small niche out there for people that like live rolled cigars. And then I actually flew out to a West, and there's a Cuban family out there that will train you. So spent an entire week with them, rolled the correct way, the Cuban way.
Right.
And then learned how to triple cap a cigar. And then I practiced, came back here, practiced, and turned into a business last year, really.
Nice. So it's been up and running for a year now.
Yeah, just as live rolling for right around a year. And we do weddings, bachelor parties. We've done some birthday parties, and it's just any kind of a private event.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. You meet a lot of good people. We do a full service, so I'll roll the cigars, I'll cut and light them for guests, and lots of engagement. So it's kind of like an entertainment out there.
So how did you start learning to roll cigars and thinking of cigar business before you moved into the Panhandle, or did you do that once you moved into the area?
Yeah. So I kind of went back and forth. Like I still worked full time as a firefighter, and I had started just a side hustle cigar business where I was at before here out in Colorado. Some laws changed right when I was doing that I didn't know about, and shipping cigars outside of state lines there's a lot more legal hoops to jump through. So I basically, as soon as I started it, shipped some out, and then the governor basically signed a law that made that basically illegal the way I was doing it. So shut that down. Continued to work in the fire department. Ended up moving out here in September. Yeah, September of 2021. Still worked at the fire department. I was kind of closing up my time there, and then eventually retired. But while I was retiring in 2023, I then started like kind of dabbling more on what to do with cigars. I actually just looked for a couple of jobs in cigars at local cigar shops that were hiring, but they weren't hiring guys. They were looking for women. It's like, well, let me see if I can just get better at rolling cigars. Maybe I'll do something with that. And then it just kind of went from there. So got better rolling cigars in 24, 25, and then turned into a legit, like I'm doing this business in 2025.
So you've been rolling cigars, practicing for 4 or 5 years before you turned it into a business?
Yeah, it's not hard. It's just very tedious, and you have to. It's a craft you just have to really hone. Yeah. But it's not hard. It's just a craft you have to hone. It takes a lot of time. So if you're doing it in front of people, you got to do it right.
Right. Especially in the cigar world, they'll know, like some people are aficionados, and they'll know exactly how it's rolled, how it's made, and they've been to different places, and we'll critique that.
Well, yeah, if you get a cigar that is not rolled, even if it could look good, but it might not smoke well, so they're gonna know. Yeah. So you gotta get all that down.
Yeah. So now you have your own self-branded cigars. You brought a couple in the day. Where do you get your tobacco from, and everything, the supplies that you need to make your cigars?
So those come from distributors, and anybody can go on there and just get some. You don't have to be anybody special or with a business license to get tobacco. I buy it by the pound, but there's several leaves that go into there, but it all comes from the same plant. A lot of people also don't realize that there's no chemicals in tobacco. It's just when you get a cigar, it's different than a cigarette or other types of tobacco. There's nothing. Now you can get to some infused cigars that might have some different things infused in their sugar and bourbon, different things. That's going to add to it. But if it's just a cigar, just a full tobacco cigar, you just have some long filler leaves. You've got a binder leaf that binds the bunch, and then a wrapper leaf. So it's like that's what you see, the big pliable wrapper leaves. And that's what does the final dress on the cigar, and then you rest for a while. That's what kind of smooths them out in a humidor, and that's it. It's just tobacco. It's just tobacco, water, sunshine, and time. That's all a cigar is.
Right. We talked a little bit earlier before how the craft brewing business got exploded back early in 2000. Now it seems like the custom making of cigars is the next wave of expansion.
Yeah, they're called, so like a company like mine is called a boutique cigar company. So it's not a big name. Like we can say big names.
Yeah. So
Cohiba, Arturo Fuente, Padron. They've got, they own the farm or own the rights to the tobacco on the farm. They've got the big factories. They got tons of employees rolling cigars in, Esteli, Nicaragua. I think you asked me where my tobacco comes from. So it's mostly Dominican, Nicaragua, Honduras. And then I do get, once in a while, I'll get like a Connecticut broadleaf, here in the US.
yeah.
For my own personal ones, I'll do that because I like the flavor. When I'm rolling live, I use very specific leaves because I want stuff that's durable. Our weather here, obviously being really hot and humid, sometimes they're in wind. You need something that's strong. So I use very specific leaves that are strong and durable. Even though they might not even taste the best, it's going to hold up when I'm outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's only a few places I've done some research just getting into cigars not too long ago. Smoked cigars periodically throughout my entire life, but there's only a few places in Florida that actually are growing their own tobacco leaves and trying to make Florida-based type cigars, but it's not
even just
it's not the
very
environment
few,
to do so.
Yeah, even just very few US based. So I mean, it used to be Kentucky, North Carolina, Connecticut. Those are kind of like the known tobacco regions. The tough part of Florida is the bugs. So they have to do, a lot of times those Florida farms, there's a lot of spraying involved. So you might get some chemicals in those.
Unless they're completely done in an enclosed greenhouse type space.
Yeah, and it could be, and that's another thing too with the leaves. You're going to see, like, if you look in a cigar box, a lot of times you'll see sun grown, shade grown. Sun has a lot of flavors. When it's sun grown, you'll know it's a stronger flavored cigar. When it's shade grown, it's a little bit lighter, milder flavor cigar. So that's how you gotta tell those. But yeah, a lot of tobacco is either sun grown or shade grown, and that's how we choose the strength level.
And so do you make the whole realm of cigars from the Churchills to the Turos to the minis, or is there a set type of cigars that you're rolling right now when you go to events and parties?
Yeah, when I go to events, I just roll a Toro size. Sometimes I might need to cut it into a Robusto, but it's the same amount of tobacco really in the Toro and the Robusto. I just might say I mess up on the foot of the cigar. I'll chop it down into a Robusto and hand it to somebody that might not want to smoke a full Toro.
Okay.
So, but yeah, in my company, as far as the branding goes, I've got actually over 30 different blends. I just don't always do all those.
Right.
It's a lot of time. But yeah, we've got petite Coronas all the way up to Gordo, which is, a large cigar. So we've got all different sizes, all different flavors.
So what would be, for some of the people that's just listening now that's never smoked a cigar before, an ideal starting point with the size, a flavor profile to get into cigars?
Just go for a mild cigar. The one I gave you here today, I just call it the Level 1 Connecticut. It's got a Connecticut wrapper leaf on it. It's very mild. It's a lot of times I like a little bit stronger of a cigar. And I like that cigar a lot, but sometimes I'll have that in the morning with coffee. Just kind of start my day. If I know I'm going to be not super busy in a day, I know I'm going to end up having 3 cigars in the day. So a lot of times I'll start with that one because I'm going to go up in strength from there instead of down in strength. So it's a really good cigar. So I would say look for something that is shade grown with a Connecticut leaf. If you wanted to go to North Bay Cigar and check out mine, it's just the Level 1 Connecticut.
Okay.
Level 1 Connecticut is kind of like our most mild across all palates. I bring those to weddings with me. And a lot of times that's what the people that want to have a cigar because they want to participate.
Right.
But they don't really want to feel like they're smoking a cigar. It's just a very mild cigar. Really good taste to it. Still tastes like tobacco. It's just a very mild version of tobacco.
Good. Yeah, I can't wait to try it too. So thanks for that. Do you give advice for people like that at the weddings and events? They've never smoked a cigar before. And most commonly, an experience I did when I was a teenager, our buddies brought back Cuban cigars when I was probably 16 or 17, and not us knowing, because Dad didn't grow up smoking cigars. You inhale the thing, and then we're all sick by the end of the night. So you sort of give advice when you're out hand rolling at parties and events to how to smoke the cigar for the first time?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at judging who's got experience just by the way they ask questions and handle a cigar, or even, gosh, if they're even handling the cigar at all, they probably don't have much experience because you should not handle a cigar unless you're going to smoke it. It's kind of like picking up a gun. You don't want to be putting your fingers on, somewhere where someone's going to put their mouth. So if they are touching the cigar and picking up and look at it, I actually keep extra cigars off to the side for them to do that with, that I don't let anybody have, just so they can feel what a cigar feels like and, fresh rolled and all that. But yeah, I can usually tell their experience by just kind of talking to them and the way they're asking questions and handling the cigar. A lot of times they'll pick it up and they'll kind of look at it and they'll look at the cutter and I'll be like, would you like me to do that for you?
Right.
I'll cut it and light it for you. It's part of my service. So I'll pick it up. I'll cut it for them. I'll light it for them. And there's, no harm, no foul. It's just a cigar. It's not like salvation,
Right.
So it's, I'm more than happy to kind of bring someone through it. Or if they go to the Maduro, that it's a little bit stronger of a cigar. Like I'll be like, do you know you like Maduros, or have you ever had one of these before? No, I'm just want to have a cigar while I'm at this wedding.
Right.
Or at this bachelor party. Be like, well, why don't we try this one first?
If they like it, come back and get the stronger one. So growing your business, starting in the area, you've been looking to do it for a few years. You said planning it, learn how to roll. Now you're going to events. How do people find you for events for that, and then as well as online for your shops?
Other than my website, Google actually has been really well in people doing searches. But as far as advertising go, I don't really do much advertising. I've just I've contacted a whole bunch of wedding planners in the area. Some were real receptive and are offered to all their clients. And like there's a couple of wedding vendors that I've gotten most of my rolling gigs from, and then some I never hear from. So it's been very organic. So as far as advertising goes, it's been very organic. I just do a whole lot of social media posting. So if anyone's listening to this and they want to, and they have Facebook or Instagram, and I kind of use them both different. Facebook is more like local people. Instagram is just people that like cigars. It seems like I get followers from all over the country there, in the world, really. But yeah, I just do some posting on there. On Facebook, I'll post where I'm going to be, because I do several things. I've got the private events that I do, which is probably my favorite thing to do. But then I go to area farmers markets and sell at farmers markets, usually like at least like once every couple of months. Around Christmas time, I do it a lot more. And then just to build the brand. And then I also do pop-ups. I just call them pop-up herfs. Herf is like a cigar night. It's just a place where people come and enjoy a cigar in community. So there's a couple of breweries in the area. One is Lawless Coast down the road a little bit. So I go to Lawless Coast. I think I'll be there May 3rd for their shrimp boil. And I just show up with my cigars and have a table and sell cigars. And then the other one's in where I'm at there in Freeport, Odd Pelican. Yeah. I don't want to go too many places. So those are about the only two that I go to. And I just do a pop-up herf at least once a month.
So what is your plans for the cigar company over the next few years? I know, again, getting into the new craft area, like always time to expand. And there's not very many cigar bars or lounges or rollers in the area.
No, we were talking earlier. Ultimate plan is I would like to have a true tabacalero, probably off 331 somewhere. Whether it's, it's called North Bay, so it would make more sense to be in Freeport, where we're based out of. But I'm kind of open to anywhere that works out. Having a true tabacalero in the area, like a members lounge, a place where people can experience rolling a cigar themselves, watch cigars being made. That kind of a place is good. I'm also filming now. I'm actually filming at-home cigar rolling courses that can be purchased online and actually a really good rate, because you can see stuff like that on YouTube, actually where I started, but it's really tough to get good information through the YouTube tutorials. You need I'm filming like the basics of what you need to know, that's with actionable steps to make you good, so you can get good at rolling your own cigars at home. So we're filming that now. So turning it into a course is one thing that we're doing. And then of course the live rolling. And then I would like to have a flagship shop at some point, but like a place that's like just locals are welcome, or I'm sorry, visitors are welcome, but it's a local community-based, members-based shop.
So digging into that a little bit, you started watching YouTube videos to start rolling cigars, but when you really got good is when you went over to Cuba and actually trained.
So I didn't go to Cuba. I flew to part of the country where it was a friend of a friend who told me about this family. It's a mother, a daughter, and an uncle, and they're from Cuba. And they rolled at the Cohiba factory, but their business now is basically teaching people like me how to roll correctly, and then also being the contracted business behind the business. So if I'm going to a wedding and they order 200 cigars, well, little me rolling 200 cigars is going to take me. That's going to take me several weeks. It's a lot of cigars for one person to roll. So now they're all my blends and that I've worked with. Since then, I keep in touch with them on the phone, and I might build something at home and then I'll send them the recipe and say, hey, listen, this is the new cigar I want to launch. Here's the recipe. Here's the mold, that we use. And they document it. I even film a video on my phone of rolling it. And then they send me basically like a prototype, and I'll test it out. Like, yep, that's it. Or we need to change this. I mean, they get it right all the time. Yeah. So they're the business behind my business. So if there's like a lot of cigars I need for a specific event, I just call them up, be like, hey, I need, 200 of my, level 1 Connecticut, and I need it by this date. and they send them out to me, and then I do the rolling at the vents. So I
Right.
do the rest of the rolling at the event, but then I come with those extra cigars that there's no way you can do that much at one event.
Right.
So one person.
So
So
when you
yeah.
started that, did you plan on that connection when you went there to roll that they would
No,
be your
no, I was just
cigars?
very fortunate to run into the right people.
Yeah.
And their business is supporting other small businesses.
Okay.
And they're, and doing like orders like that. So they're making good money,
Right.
and they do a great job. I mean, and the daughter speaks English very well. So I spent the entire week, in the shop, but with her.
Yeah.
And she was like a drill sergeant, like I had to get it right.
Right.
There was no like, hey, you paid and we're going to be nice to you. It was like, no, it was as though I was applying for a job at a Havana Cohiba factory.
Right.
And that's what I wanted. So I had some knowledge going in, and I left with so much more knowledge, plus great connections, plus contractors who will take my blends and always take my phone call.
Right.
They'll always take my phone call, get work hashed out, and they got a great business model themselves.
Well, that's good that you sort of fell into that distributor, because if not, you would have had to go through and find a distributor. You would have had to be able to find somebody to create those based off your blends and markets. That would have added way more complexity to your business out of the gate.
Yeah, and I partnered with another business that even will do customized labels. So and I mean, you don't have any minimum orders, so I can just do a one box of 25 with a custom label for the Smith wedding, and they wanted their date on there, or they want their picture on the label of the cigar. So and we can do that. So I can do all custom labeling. Yeah, and it's you need that in this business because you can't do it all yourself.
Right.
So it's nice to partner with other businesses, and you get that help, and it's good for them, it's good for you, makes you look more professional. And I mean, they roll cigars a lot better than I do anyway. So I mean, I can get by at the weddings and stuff, and for myself, like I make a good cigar, but I can't crank them out as fast as they can because they've got all the equipment, they've got a dedicated time, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Not yet. You're working to that scale.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Yeah,
maybe I'll hire them to come out here
for a big event to launch your lounge.
No, to work in my Tabacalero.
Well, you can do that too, and continue to ship in all the tobacco and build that up. That would even be creating that into the area and be able to supply that into the area. I think would be great for the community if you were able to get to that scale. That's
we'll see.
10 years down the road.
Yeah, it's a while down, but this area I think could support it. It's such a cigar lounges are such a unique environment. It's a very small niche. It's a very hard business. Yeah, I think this area can support it, and it's probably about time in this area. I just don't really have the physical location yet because there's just not much in the area I'm looking available.
And again, just getting into it within the first year of it. So what's one of your favorite memories that you can recall of sitting and enjoying a cigar or conversation that you've had?
That's a tough question. I kind of always go back to that first one. It was so I grew up in the Chicago area, going to that Beach Boy concert. Like it's just so vivid in my memory. I mean, and then since then it's just been, when I get together with my dad, not every time. He lives down the road here. So not every time, but oftentimes if there's time and we're having a dinner with my family and my mom and dad, like my dad and I will retire to the patio and have a cigar. My brother, we always have a cigar together when we're together. Uncles, when we're visiting each other, whether it's they're coming here or I'm going back home to Chicago. It's just, I can't really place one specific memory on it. Getting asked that question, I always go to that first cigar.
Right.
And I know exactly what brand it was.
Okay. What brand was it?
It was a Dutch Masters.
Okay.
Which was considered a cheap cigar, a cheap machine-made cigar.
Yeah.
True cigar smokers wouldn't have any respect for that. But at that time, I think it was Cuban seed. So at the time, I think Dutch Masters was still Cuban seed. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in the 90s, Dutch Masters was still Cuban seed. I mean, it was for being his first cigar. Yeah, I wouldn't change it. And yeah, it's what my dad smoked. I don't know what his consistent blend is now, because I mostly just give him mine. I keep him pretty well stocked up now. But yeah, he was like just a cheap cigar smoker guy. But yeah, it was a Dutch Masters, and I still remember it vividly. After a Beach Boy concert.
Most people can always remember their first cigar when they got started, that they continue to do cigar smoking is the experience from that. I think the key point you hit on there is it's meant for social time.
It's social, it's community. Probably outside of that first one was just having a cigar at the fire station with guys, in between calls and all. Sometimes we'd have to put them down. They wouldn't be all that great when we got back. Yeah. But yeah, that was always fun too. And then off shift, a lot of times we would have a cigar together. There's a close friend of mine, and he works in a cigar shop now up there in Lafayette, Colorado. It's called Casbar Cigar. And that's our spot. Every time we go back, we meet up at Casbar Cigar. That's where we hang out.
enjoy the memories and the friendships from it. From the conversation that you've had, adding from your favorite first cigar, what are some insights that you've learned, conversations that's changed your way of thinking?
About cigars
or cigars or in life that you think that you've got a key wisdom point of sitting down and having a cigar and like,
well, I'll tell you
that was
this.
sort of life-changing part.
It's not the cigars that are life-changing. Yeah. It's just a cigar, like we were saying. It's not salvation, but I think it's what comes to the table when you're sitting around with your friends having a cigar. The conversation, everything's kind of slows down. You slow down, you relax. And I mean, I've gotten financial wisdom from having a cigar with people, even people I didn't know,
right?
Business wisdom, whether or not to get married or not, different things. It all happened over a cigar. And honestly, sometimes like I'll have a cigar and I don't want to light it up. Like I just like chewing on it.
Yeah.
I like the nicotine is good. People say it's the nicotine you get addicted to, but nicotine's not a chemical. Right. I mean, yes, it is, but you find nicotine in potatoes, eggplant. That's those outside of tobacco, white potatoes and eggplant have the highest nicotine content. It's recently been associated with fighting off dementia, right? In dementia patients. So nicotine's not a bad thing. Anything in large doses is probably bad. But yeah, no, the cigar is more about like what it is that surrounds the cigar. And it's the friendship, the community, a time that you just kind of slow down and engage in conversation. Because now we can probably walk out of here right now and see 50 to 70% of people looking at their phones.
Right.
You don't do that when you're sitting down a cigar with people.
In fact, that's cigar etiquette. You sit down and you don't have your phone. It's the time to enjoy that you take the 45 minutes to the hour that you're going to have.
Yeah. And there's been plenty of times when I've been enjoying a cigar at a cigar lounge with people and they're not having a cigar.
Yeah.
They just want to hang out because most cigar lounges, you can bring in a bottle of bourbon and you can share that amongst your friends and nobody cares. All the cigar shops wants is that somebody has a cigar. That's it. It's a place just to hang out. They're very welcoming places.
And for new listeners in here, as we're talking about cigars, like you do something that I usually do sometimes, chewing the cigar. Some people are like, don't chew on your cigar. There's not a right way or a wrong way.
No, there's no right way or wrong way. Now, there's some blends and brands I would stay away from just because of like what, known for the chemical content of things. Sometimes I roll, like a lot of the cigars that I roll when they don't turn out that great and they're not something I'm going to sell. Well, those are the ones I put in a special humidor and those are the ones I grab for just a drive and I don't light up, right. Cause like just that, I love that flavor. I love the flavor of tobacco. I like the leathery, earthy, nutty flavor, depending on what kind of a leaf I have. And it's like you're saying, like sometimes it's nice just to chew on it.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way. There's a guy I used to work with in the fire department when I was in the military in New Mexico. And his name is Rock. Guy always had a cigar in his mouth in the station, never lit it, never smoked it. He just always chewed a cigar. He liked the flavor. It was his thing. It was what he's known for.
Right. And it's a social activity. There's no right or wrong way behind it.
That was his thing.
So with that, people getting nervous now, and you're talking about your humidor and that. Nowadays, with tech, that's changed everything. Those are easy to maintain. They sell little packets now that you can just pop into your humidor and or put your cigars in Tupperware with those same packets.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, well, if you're going in Tupperware, you probably want to open it up every once in a while and rotate if you're not going in there that much because that could create mold. But yeah, I mean, I gave you one in the bag I brought for you. There's a little humid pack in there. That's good for bags and small Tupper doors, they call them. If you're using Tupperware or even like a cooler. But if you're, graduating into a larger humidor, you want to have fans and a digital hydrometer that has sensors around it. So it's even.
That way, adjusting them, rotating.
Yeah, rotate that's if you want to nerd out on it. Yeah. I don't talk about that much, but I nerd out on that stuff.
Well,
my wife knows, but nobody else.
That's like in IT and tech and stuff. I do too. You get all nerded out in certain things that you have on your computers, your cybersecurity events. It's the same with cigars or with bourbon. Now you'll get special cases to install all your bourbons in and that. So you can take it to the max or just enjoy the time together.
Yeah, and then if you're talking to somebody else, they're looking at you like, okay, weirdo. But no, I keep that stuff to myself unless somebody's asking me.
Right.
But yeah, if anybody's listening, curious what they should keep their humidor at, a very simple thing is think 70 degrees, 70% humidity, 70 and 70.
That's easy.
Yeah, it's easy to remember. That's pretty much what I follow. 70 degrees, try to keep it around there, and 70% humidity. And your cigars, I mean, they'll last forever if you take care of them. There's just got to be careful of mold and things like that. But if you're taking care of it, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, especially in Florida, the humidity and that. So make sure you're checking them, rotating them, and as long as it's set 70-70, you should be.
Yeah, like I don't know who lives in a house without humidity anymore, but if, or I'm sorry, not without AC, but if you live in a house without AC, you probably shouldn't keep yourself a humidor because they're going to get moldy.
Yeah. So around the area, where are your favorite places to sit and enjoy a cigar here within the Panhandle?
Well, for me, it's just my house now.
Okay.
I like to be at the patio. Now, if I'm meeting friends somewhere, I like Marvin's shop there, Harbor Cigars. It's got a nice outdoor area. It's always shaded right there when he's open. So Harbor Cigars is a great place. Outside of that, if I'm going outside of the house, I really just like going to parks. If I'm just hanging out and having a cigar at the beach. If I go with I'm actually going to go with my family tomorrow, and I'll probably bring a cigar with me. I'm out to the beach. Sometimes it's not great because of the wind and all that, but I don't care. I just bring a cigar that I've probably rolled, and it's not not a perfect roll that I'm going to sell. I'll just bring that. I don't care if the wind messes it up. I just want the flavor in my mouth.
Right.
So, yeah, the beach, patio, at home. And then if I'm going to a shop, basically Harbor Cigars is the place that I go. Yeah.
And we were talking briefly about that a little earlier, where the FDA changed their rulings on how they do premium cigars, and cigars are categories now. So there are more places that you're allowed to smoke them.
Yeah, especially in Florida. Yeah, especially in Florida. Like I think we were mentioning it before, if you go to a state park and you're having a cigar and a police officer says you need to put that out, it's actually not true. Now, you probably don't want to fight with the officer there.
Right.
But DeSantis did pass a law that cigars are exempt from the no smoking ban at parks because it's not a chemical induced. Doesn't have a filter. It's not going to cause any trash. Most cigar smokers are very respectful. They're not going to, mash out their, we don't really call them butt, but
right.
They're not going to mash out their butt and leave it on the ground. They're going to properly dispose of it. That's why you don't see cigars all over the place on the ground like you do oftentimes cigarettes. Yeah. And if you did, it was just a leaf. A few rainstorms, it'll probably break up and wash away. But yeah, it is legal to bring cigars because they're exempt here in the state of Florida and state parks and other areas. Yeah, you can smoke them because there's no chemicals.
Right.
They're not going to hurt anything.
Leaf.
Just a leaf. Yep, that's it. There's no paper involved. Nothing.
Yeah,
just a leaf.
So with that changing too, did that help or hurt with you importing your tobacco leaves in for your supplies?
Well, so it helped in a sense. I didn't really notice.
Okay.
But as far as the tobacco industry goes in Florida itself, that was something I actually mentioned to Jay Collins when he was around. It was thanked him and DeSantis for actually lightening up the wholesale laws. So now, without a permit in Florida, like I could just take my cigars and wholesale it to an area liquor store and have that as a product there. And it's just less hoops to jump through.
Right.
It used to be that you had to file for a wholesale permit and all that stuff, and they took that red tape away. So I've got, being a small cigar business, I could actually take my product, go to a liquor store and be like, hey, would you like this on your shelf? Here's our wholesale list and profit margins and all that. And they can just purchase it and sell it themselves and collect tax.
Okay.
So that has helped a lot. So now there's other federal restrictions that have been a pain with dealing with tobacco and especially with like payment processing systems. But as far as the state of Florida goes, the state of Florida is very tobacco friendly and respectful of that business.
Now, were there specific license and process and fees that you had to do to start your business to be a tobacco distributor?
Yeah. And, part of it's, you got to have a manufacturing license because technically I'm manufacturing a cigar.
Okay.
So when I go to the weddings and stuff and I hand those out, that's a manufactured tobacco product. So you have to go through the TTB, deal with that and reporting and all that. You have to have a special payment processing system for collecting monies for tobacco and make sure you're checking IDs. But yeah, it's just, that's the nature of the beast of tobacco business. Tobacco business, the cigar business is actually a very difficult business. Lots of them fail, but I also think a lot of them aren't really doing it right either. And I'm staying very small. I'm just really doing weddings and that's the main part. The weddings, private parties, birthday parties, but just the live event stuff is my main thing.
Yeah.
I only started about 6 months ago, actually building the branding, which was right before Christmas.
Yeah.
So it was really just right before Christmas is when I started building a brand. But now I get people calling me almost every week, like, hey, I need, I'd like some more of your green label Maduros and can you meet me somewhere?
Yeah,
I'll meet you somewhere. That's why probably having a shop would be helpful.
Now, with the outside of just the federal portion, was there any additional requirements that you had to do for the counties while you're doing the weddings and rolling here for Walton County, Okaloosa County, or is that all is uncovered under federal law?
Not for rolling, but for selling, yeah. Whether it's I'm selling specific product at a market, it's 6% state, 1% Walton County.
Yeah.
So I got to report all that and pay the sales tax on that, and I do the same for if I'm doing a live event. I just pay the full retail percentage for that as well, even though some of it's service and some of it is, product.
Right.
So I just pay all that at once. But yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's just you got to pay close attention to your numbers and have a good accounting.
Accounting reporting with any business you have.
Yeah, any business you have is going to be, all that stuff's annoying. One thing somebody told me ahead of time, starting business was like, get yourself a bookkeeper, let them work the numbers, you just work the business. So
Yeah.
Even when the business was not supporting itself, I went ahead and got a bookkeeper to watch all that stuff for me.
It's good to set it up right the first way, even though when you begin, as you grow into it, so
Yeah.
you don't have to go back and make a bunch of corrections with anyone starting businesses out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worth doing. Plus, if you report everything or you record everything correctly, it just adds out value to your business if you decide to sell it.
Right.
So if you got good numbers and you can show value in your business, like something happens and you need to sell it or you just want to walk away, it's got some value.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good for any business person to keep good tabs on their numbers.
I always try to wrap up the show ending here, and it can be focused on the cigar business or anything that you see just in the Panhandle focused, a big challenge that could be solved or could be resolved or worked on in the area that we live in.
Ooh, that's a loaded question.
Besides the beach access, we get that all the time. So,
yeah, no, we won't talk
beach.
Yeah, we won't talk that big, especially around here because it's probably a really hot topic right here.
Yeah.
No, for me right now, the biggest challenge I have is more federal side and then what's available retail space. Because I would like to have that nice retail shop, but there's just not a whole lot available. And then when it is built, it's built more for, it's a lot of flexible warehouse space, which the city of Freeport, where I'm looking to put it, doesn't allow that kind of retail in flexible warehouse space. But that's one of the largest asset classes right now, as far as like, investors and making money. So they're building just a lot of flexible flexible warehouse space.
Yeah.
So there's just not a whole lot of retail. And then when it does show up, it's usually about twice as much per square foot as the flexible warehouse space. So yeah, just finding a good retail location is the tough thing. And I don't have to have one, but I think it would serve the community well.
Right.
And I think it would be good for the community to have a place like that to go. Because right now I know plenty of people that are always driving all the way to Pensacola. There's the New Orleans Cigar Factory has a Pensacola location and on Palafox. And there's people from Defuniak that I know regularly go out there all the way to Pensacola from Defuniak.
Right.
Just to be in a nice cigar lounge. So, yeah.
There's only a couple around here. You got Destin is just a shop. There's one here in Miramar, the hub area, and that's it. And all the way to Pensacola or Tallahassee. But yeah, this area could definitely use one if the region fits for what you're trying to do in the space, and the rent needs to be appropriate.
And I'd be even for partnering with somebody that either owns the space or, I don't know, wants to be a part of a cigar lounge. It's just, I do want it to be like the North Bay Cigar Company, though, like where we have the vision. Like the vision I have for it is like even a place that could be rented for events. I love stand-up comedy. I think like a place that had a spot where stand-up comedians can go would be a lot of fun too.
Yeah,
if I could have a
with comedian shows.
Yeah, you can do tickets and have some stand-up comedy. It's always been popular, but it's getting more available in a lot of places. And it's easy to get comedians in. And a lot of times in places, it'd be fun to have a place that people knew that they can go on a Friday night and not have to go to like a I guess a commercial bar and have to always be buying drinks or whatever. They can just go enjoy it, maybe pay an entry fee or something without having to feel like they need to fork over all this cash for stuff they don't want or to keep drinking, and all that. So anyway, it'd be fun. It's a great area though, out here. And it's just managed by a small group of people, it seems like, that want a certain thing. And there's a lot more that could be available if it wasn't held onto so tightly.
There's pluses and minuses behind the way it's done, and then they focus on developments and others in the area. But I think you have a good vision for the next 5 years here, and hopefully a lounge will be up and running soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
And
if it doesn't, I'll just keep doing the weddings and all that and selling at markets. But yeah, it'd be nice.
So how can people get to your website, your social media handles on here? I'll post them in links, but if you want to tell them the addresses to go out and find you on Instagram and Facebook page.
So Instagram, it's just North Bay Cigar, I believe. Facebook is the same. And then my website is just northbaycigar.com. And then you can even go there and there's links to the socials. It's being redone right now. that website, just because I'm starting to get into online sales. So it's being built for online sales. So if you go there now, it might be a little confusing. In fact, you might see like one cigar costing like $1,000. So it's because it's being built right now.
Okay.
But if you want all just information on like, or even how to contact me for live rolling, northbaycigar.com. And then if you want to get our product to eventually, hopefully about 30 days, that'll be all up and running for, and I can do nationwide shipping for that. Yeah.
Well, Buzz, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, I appreciate it.